So guys, the second stage of the compilation process is actually the compilation stage. This stage takes an input, the text substituted source file, which is produced by the pre-processing stage of the compilation process, and the stage 2, the compilation stage, produces the assembly code as an output. So this assembly code is equivalent to the high-level program code that you wrote in test.c source file. And the file which contains the equivalent assembly code has an extension of .s. So now let us compile our test1.c source file and see how assembly code looks like. So you can see on the left hand side is the test1.c source file, which is a text substituted source file, and on the right hand side I will compile the test1.c source file to create an equivalent assembly code. So note that you need to pass the flag "S" to your compiler in order to create the assembly code, right? So all the assembly code will go in test.s file. So if I open test.s file, you can see the same program which you wrote in a high-level C language has been reduced to the assembly language. Now this assembly language may appear as a piece of junk to you. Of course, you would not understand even a single line in this file if you have never touched the assembly programming or something. And I'm sure that 99% of the students do not learn assembly language. And it is actually okay, because until or unless you are really working at the low level stuff, you never need to learn assembly language. So in this piece of code, you can see that your main function is here, and this is the equivalent implementation, and this is the equivalent assembly implementation of the main function. So you can see that your 3 lines of code in the main function is reduced to about 20 lines in the assembly language program. Similarly, you had the function compute circle area, and following is the assembly implementation of this function. So basically all you need to take away from here is that compilation stage involves the translation of the high level source program which you wrote to the equivalent assembly code. And once you have generated this equivalent assembly code, we feed this assembly code to the third stage of the compilation process, which is called assembler. So assembler is a program which takes an input, the assembly code, and produces the output, which is called machine code or object files. So in the next lecture video, we will catch up with the assembler.